Right then, okay, so today, as we all know, we'll be discussing more about the CI/CD DevOps, API Ops, and also the Azure DevOps with the demo. So let's just quickly go through the agenda. So first, we'll actually discuss the basics about DevOps, CI/CD, Agile. Normally, all these three terms, they are basically been confused and they have been treated as one entity, but actually they are not. So we'll just discuss about them in brief, and also about API Ops, and then how we'll be integrating DevOps with MuleSoft. What are the implementation? How can we do it? What are the basic requirements needed? Then we'll just move on ahead with the demo, which will be covering the Azure DevOps, the entire pipeline, the framework, and what are the benefits of using Azure DevOps over the traditional methods. And then also we'll just see a gist of Jenkins, a Jenkins overview, how we can do that, because majority of the organizations, they use Jenkins, right? And that's something very different from what we are doing with the Azure DevOps. So it will give us a contrast idea, basically. So with this being said, I just want you all to be interactive so that we can have a good fun learning search session, and it will be like more helpful for us to remember everything. So Amit, if we can just unmute themselves and let's everyone be responsible for our mic activities, that will be really great.
Yep, sure.
So
I can
moving,
give the ability, yeah. But the thing is, if there is any background noise, then we have to take care for that.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, let's take the risk now.
Yeah, I just gave them permission.
Okay, thank you. So to begin with, like basically we'll be first starting with DevOps and then the CI/CD. I'm sure like most of you guys, you all are aware about what is DevOps and how it is and what DevOps does. So maybe just can anyone just tell me more about DevOps? Like what all things have you worked from DevOps perspective? I guess there is something like Copado as well when it comes to Salesforce. Uh, so can just anyone tell me more about it? Like what you all know about DevOps? I remember someone saying in the chat section, I mean, while the introduction that they have worked with Circle CI and Jenkins and some part of it.
Yeah, Akshata.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's me.
so
So, okay, can I go
yeah,
ahead?
hi Krish. Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So my 2 cents on the DevOps. So I think the way you put it on the slide perfectly. I'm across the development and I would say my release management teams. And so typically the
Mhm.
DevOps is like, how do you get the code, get it built, of course, get it tested and then released in an organized manner across QA and higher environments all the way to production. So to put it simply, of course, like you put there are a lot of stuff, but at a high level, that's what I would say.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, so what is DevOps basically is it's a collaboration, we can say, between the development and the IT team, and that's how the term has been coined, Dev plus Ops. So earlier, traditionally, what used to happen, the development team and the operation team, they used to work in silos. So there was no actual communication between them. But in order to improve the efficiency, you can say, of the process, or maybe to follow an agile process, so DevOps has came into picture, and that's how it is. It enables like the development team and the operations teams to work together, and that gives us faster results. The time to market that has been reduced as we are like continuously building, continuously uh, deploying the application. The delivery time is reduced. It's been like faster delivered to the market. So as you are seeing, it's an infinite loop, it's a continuous running loop. Okay, and these are the different stages which we can see in the DevOps, like the development, the create, plan, release, and all. And there are different entities, several tools and all involved. Like normally when it comes to DevOps, people just know about like, yeah, there is something like Jenkins or something like that. But no, there is like a lot of tools. If you'll see the actual picture of DevOps thing, the architecture, so there are various tools. There is Docker, Kubernetes, like Jira. All these tools are also part of DevOps. Basically, we are just working with the operation team. So earlier there are different models also, right? The software development life cycle models, we can say, like SDLC models, which are waterfall models, and then the different iterative ones and all. So when we're talking about DevOps, you're more talking on the agile terms as well. Okay, so just let me move to the next one.
And
Yeah, so
Akhtar, sorry to interrupt. Just to add to it,
yes, sure.
when we say that DevOps doesn't only mean that we are only working with code. It also means that we can automate infra with that. When we
Infra,
mentioned about
yes.
Kubernetes, right, we can spin up EC2 instances. We can do containers. We can do a lot of other stuff. That is all included in DevOps only.
Yes, that's right. I was about to. So we are normally aware about the Jenkins and all, but if you'll see, there are Jenkins is just one part, just one picture of the release pipeline. I mean, of the release stage, but there are other stuff as well. There is Docker, AWS, Chef, Ansible. So these are actually responsible for the infrastructure management and everything. Okay, and it's not necessary that you have all of these components involved in your integrations or in your project, but it's necessary that some of them, a few of them, whatever is necessary for you. Suppose if I'm the one who's using Selenium or JUnit, but you might not be using it. You might be using something else. You might be using Jira, Git, and all these things. So that is completely fine. It's actually like laying the architecture and what all things are involved. So now with this being done with DevOps, like how do you think, like, yeah, what are the benefits of DevOps? Definitely. So reliability, reduced time to recover as we are working in the agile process, right? So we are delivering faster. So the risk of, I mean, as it's the entire process, when it comes to DevOps, we are actually focusing more on the automation part. So when it comes to automation, it's like the human intervention is reduced. And as the human intervention is reduced, everything is taken care by the machine, the tools itself. And that's why the errors, the introductions of error, probability of introducing the errors and all are also reduced. And when the errors are reduced, definitely there is a cost saving. I mean, the time to deliver to the market increases, and we are like more, what we can say, we are delivering a better quality product, and that too in a shorter span of time. So yeah, that definitely will lead you to stability, and it's an iterative phase, right? So we are like continuously delivering it. So I guess these things are all like repeating, and will keep repeating over the session as well. So moving ahead, with this being said, so what is CI/CD now? The next thing is continuous integration, continuous development. We all have heard about it, what it does, and how it is, but how it is different from DevOps. So it's basically a part of DevOps. You can say it provides you the best practices. When you're saying about the DevOps, you can just imagine it as a bigger picture. Okay, and when it comes to CI/CD, you can say that it's a smaller fragment, or it actually gives you the best practices how you can implement the DevOps. Okay, and when it comes to CI/CD, the major things what you have heard about, or you have learned about the Jenkins, the Azure DevOps tool. So these are the pipeline. So continuous integration will be continuously integrating our code, and will be continuously releasing, which means you're continuously deploying as well. Okay, so this enhance, I mean, with the help of CI/CD, what happens is we'll be making sure that the features or bugs and our releases, they are like delivered to market quickly. As soon as the developer pushes the code or checks in, commits the code and all, the pipeline will be triggered. That is something which we'll be seeing in the demo as well. Okay, so if you'll see the benefits of CI/CD and the DevOps, they are almost the same, because we normally term it as same, but we need to be sure about the differences as well. Like, what is basic difference between a DevOps and a CI/CD? Okay, so moving to the next part, yeah, this is how the pipeline is. I mean, this is like the MuleSoft with Azure DevOps, but this can be applicable for the other things as well. Okay, other things when it comes to like if you're working with any of the DevOps or CI/CD tool. I'm sorry if there are any questions. Amit, you can just let me know. I'll just take it up. Okay. Feel free to ask
Yes,
me
sure,
any
sure.
questions, any doubts you all are having in between. I can stop and we can have a just cool interactive session that will be very interactive. Yeah. So to begin with, if you'll see the steps what are involved, these steps you have been aware about as a developer. We all have been doing the steps in day-to-day life. Like we have been doing checkout, build, unit testing, all these things. But we have been doing this manually, right? I mean, first we'll do a build, and then we'll do a checkout, and then after development testing everything locally, we'll just deploy it to Cloud App, and then again there will be a separate testing. Everything will be going on. And suppose you're the one, you are aware about your development standards and everything, and you're like very much sure that you will be doing everything in a proper full-fledged manner with perfection and everything, but you cannot take guarantee about someone else, some other developer. If he's new to the team or something like that, he might not be aware about the process, he might miss something, and that will eventually lead to a loss of quality. So that's where in the automation thing comes up. So everything has to set up just once, and going ahead you just have to take the essence of it, you can say. And suppose like I can tell you from this example, like this first we'll be doing a checkout. Like suppose if I'm pushing up any code to Git, my pipeline will be triggered. Pipeline in the sense my DevOps, the CI/CD pipeline will be triggered. Okay, and going forward it will take care of the other activities like the testing, deploying the code to my MuleSoft Anypoint platform, performing, I mean, any unit test cases, if there are any Sonar Cube checklist and all to be performed, even those things are taken care of. Okay, and if there are any alerts and all set up, or if there is any configuration with the logging monitoring server, even that thing is in the pipeline. And not just that, if I want to deploy into different environments, dev environment, productions, QA, all these things are also a part of DevOps pipeline, we can say. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much it. I mean, the bigger picture of it. When we'll actually be doing the demo thing, we'll just everything. I mean, the picture will be more clear to you how we are doing it. But for now, if there are any questions, let me know. Or else we'll just move ahead
Yes,
with the.
yeah. Actually, there are some questions coming up, so let's take a pause and let to slide. So,
Yeah,
question is
sure.
coming up. What is continuous delivery from Tanushka, and this
Okay.
is also one of the terms. Okay, yeah. Please share
Yeah.
your.
So definitely.
Can you
So
publish
I'll
test
just,
results here? Yeah.
yeah, I'll just move ahead with this. Okay, so you are talking about the continuous deployment, which is actually equivalent, you can say, to continuous delivery as well. So what's happening is, if suppose if you're when you're working on an agile process, right? Hello, is my voice clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me know if there are any network issues. So I'll just turn off my camera. So yeah, coming to the question, what is continuous delivery? So as we are working in the agile process, okay, so what happens is we are continuously delivering our code. I mean, continuously we're building our code. Okay, and if suppose if there are new enhancements coming up, new, if there are any bugs which have been introduced, then we'll fix it there itself, and it will be deployed to your dev environment or QA of at the same time. Like once you just push the code to your pipeline, I mean, push the code to your source code repository, which could be Bitbucket or GitHub or anything like that. After that, the code will be like stably moving to other environments as well. All right, and you don't have to actually be relying on someone else. Like traditionally what used to happen, we used to work in the waterfall models and all, wherein we used to complete the entire process of development, and then the entire development activity, it used to be handed over to some other team, basically the infrastructure team, the operations team, and then they used to take care of the deployment. Okay, and once the process is completed, then again, if there is any bug or anything introduced, they used to come back to us again, the developers, and then they used to do the changes. And then this entire process, right, it was taking quite a long time. So what we are doing, continuous delivery, in the sense, whenever we are pushing the code, at the same time, immediately, we are making sure that it's getting deployed to the dev environment, QA environment, or your deployment servers, basically. All right.
Yep, yep. Right. That's very
Okay.
helpful,
So
Ashita. So, on the next
yeah.
slide, we have a couple of questions coming.
Yeah. So I was just seeing the questions. Can we publish the test results? Yes, we can publish. There are test. When we'll see the Azure things, right? There are default plugins present. Even in Jenkins, there are plugins present. So the one who are working with MuleSoft, you have the MUnits thing, and the one we are working with Java or anything else, there is JUnit plugin as well present. There is no separate plugin as such for MUnits, but yes, you can run your MUnit scripts using it. You can run your Sonar scripts, whatever you want. There is a question from Krish. If we have a Git repository, then what is Nexus repository? Okay, Git is a source code repository tool, and Nexus is an artifactory basically. So we'll see that as well. Nexus is basically used for storing our builds. I mean, suppose if you're running a build, okay, whenever I'm doing Maven clean build, then it will generate me generate a target file or something like that, or a build dependencies and all will be downloaded. So in order to avoid this thing again and again, right, I'm just caching all this thing. I mean, the dependencies, the libraries at some place, so that my project won't be like doing a clean build all the time. It will be just using the existing whatever we have, the libraries, dependencies. So that is actually saving my time in downloading all this thing. Maybe during the demo, I'll just show you guys how it is. And yeah, that is the difference between Nexus repository and any other questions if I've missed, Amit?
Uh, no, Akshita, you can go ahead with the next slide. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So moving on to the next, yeah, this is what is the basic, I mean, even during the interviews and all, right, whenever we ask a question like what is DevOps? So normally I get answers for CI/CD, normally I get answers for Agile, but we need to understand that these three are three different terms, although they are quite associated with each other, but yeah, we need to treat them differently. So Agile, you can take it as a broader perspective or a broader picture. So what happens is Agile, it's like we have different software development life cycle, waterfall model, rapid action development, and then all things what we have learned during the college time, I guess. So yeah, Agile is one of them. It's actually a process which enables us to do I mean, it mainly focuses on the process, like what are the steps involved, what are the steps involved in the process, and then also the other things like Scrum, Jira, sprints, all this planning, sprint planning, then the Jira usage. Okay, all these things, they come in the part of Agile. Okay, and then DevOps, it's a broader picture wherein you're focusing on the development and the operation activities, the infrastructure activities. Okay, and DevOps enables like Agile development. Okay, it's basically a cultural, it highlights on the role, the developer roles, the operation role, the testing QA roles and all. Okay, and it tells us about your responsibility as a like as a developer, what will be your role in this DevOps cycle, or as an operation guy. Okay, as a tester, what will be your role. Okay, moving on to the next, CI/CD is something, it is giving you a standard or a process. Okay, and how it will be like you're basically highlighting the tools what are being used. Like we are, when it comes to CI/CD, we are actually talking more about the tools, like Jenkins tool I'm using. When it comes to CI/CD, I'm using Azure DevOps or Bamboo or anything else like that. Okay, so this is the basic difference between Agile, CI/CD, and DevOps. You can also expect this in many interviews and all, they ask these questions. And yeah, so moving on to the next part, right? So what is this? I mean, we have been seeing various tweets and all, like the API was down or something like EC2 outage. So these are normally the complaints which we normally see over Twitter and all. Like, yeah, the API seems there seems to be some issue with the APIs or something like that. We have also seen this API outage, like JavaScript, Facebook and all. We have been also, like, in our actual day-to-day life, we have seen how Instagram, WhatsApp, it has been out for like 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours and all. We all have actually experienced this. So how are we diverting here from DevOps to all this APIs and all? So that's wherein we are actually discussing about API ops, we can say. So we all know that we have been using APIs on a day-to-day life. Almost everything, back of everything, APIs have been used, we can say. I mean, public organizations, the private organization, all the major giants and all, right? And that's wherein it's very important that we, all these API outages which we have been seeing. So we need to avoid this outage, and we need to ensure that if there are any changes being made to API, okay, just like the way we are focusing on DevOps, like if there is any change made to application or something like that, we are addressing the issue with the help of DevOps, right? So in the similar way, if we are designing any API, if we are dealing with APIs, so we need to ensure that if there is any issue with the API, or if there are any new enhancements coming, we need to address that as well with the same efficiency like we are doing for DevOps. And that is what is called as API ops. It's like the APIs and the operations. So as DevOps, we have been saying that developers and the operations. So it's like the API and operation. It's not a new term, but yeah, it has been newly. You cannot say it's a new term. It's definitely people have been using it. And the one who are from MuleSoft, I would like to ask you a question. Like, how do you think can we implement API ops with MuleSoft? Any idea? And basically, how different is it from DevOps? You all can just unmute yourself and speak up if that's possible.
I think by API policy.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think by API policy, I think we can implement like one part of API ops by using API policy, managing the traffic, managing the
But
security.
even over there, I mean, you have to do it like, so currently a full-fledged API management, like if we are doing some changes to RAML, those changes will be, and then it will be triggering my pipeline and going and deploying it. So I think that there is no such thing currently existing, but there is a plan from MuleSoft. I mean, recently we had a survey as well that the MuleSoft team is developing a product. I mean, if currently, if I'm working on RAML in the design center, but it's not necessary that all the projects, all the organizations are actually using the design center to build their AMLs or the APIs. They could be having their own different tools, like something like OS, or there are different, you can use Python, Django and all as well, right, to develop your APIs. So there is a product which has been built. Actually, it's in discussion that they are building this product, which will actually enable, if your pushing some changes to your API or something like that, that will be actually triggering your build pipeline. I mean, it will be actually deployed to your this thing, your Anypoint Studio as well. So that is something which completes a cycle. But for now, we have eGit plugin, which can enable it out. Like whenever there is any change to the RAML or something, we have a repository for it, and we can download our, I mean, we can download a RAML, we can manage it at the local end as well, at the MuleSoft end, right? So eGit plugin is one thing which I think can be useful in order to enable this API ops. And also when we're talking about API ops, right, it's also about like we can involve a C4E team, the C4E, which is Center for Enablement, right? So they are having actually the count of all the resources, like what number of APIs we have, how we can reuse them, and what are the reusable assets and all we are having. So this everything comes under a part of API ops, you can say. Okay, so developers and the API development experts and all the level, I mean the developers who are actually building the API from scratch, and uh, then the API, the C4E teams and the members of those who are having the count of which all APIs and all. If suppose if there is a new requirement from client and they want us to build a something like alert system or email notification system, so instead of actually going from the scratch and creating it, we'll actually go ahead with the C4E team. We can ask them if something like this, some asset like this is already present or not. And if it is present, it will actually save our time. So that is a task of C4E team. So, and those C4E, there is also a term API talist, like it's API capitalist, something like that, which they have coined. And yeah, so those are the guys, we can call them as API talist. And the API ops is mainly about the integrating the API development and also the API deployment. Okay, it's, you can say it's an extension of DevOps with regards to the APIs and all. Okay. Any questions on the API ops? Yeah, this is how it is. It's DevOps is
So
like the
I think
development and operation. Yes, yeah.
yeah, so this is kind of a new and we are bringing and I hope like this will open in lots of jobs with the
Yes.
API ops.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
in
I
parallel
mean,
to
the
DevOps.
MuleSoft, yeah, it's in plan. It's actually, it's more relevant to the API lifecycle management. Okay, what we have
Yeah.
currently, we have, I mean, you must be aware about the MuleSoft's API lifecycle management as well, wherein we are actually dealing with the all the lifecycle, the development design phase, the development phase, and then the testing, release phase, and all those things. So we need to take into consideration our APIs as well, and not just the implementation code. Okay, because there could be changes coming to APIs. I mean, if you are making some design changes and all, normally it's not advisable, because a RAML or the design which you are making is the main schema or foundation. But there could be a chance that you are introducing some new entities, new endpoints. So there needs to be a something to incorporate this change as well. So let's just wait from MuleSoft to hear more about it. If they're releasing any new product which will enable this or something like that. But definitely there are testings and all going on, which I have heard, and I was a part of survey. Okay, so moving on, any questions until now? Let me know, or else we'll move. Yeah,
Hi,
what are
sorry. Can you hear me? I had a question.
yes.
Yeah, thanks.
So
And yeah,
yeah,
can I
tell
go
me.
ahead? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so in my team, we have a lot of, I would say, APIs on the Heroku platform. And like you said, right, so we work with MuleSoft in terms of the discoverability across the teams, uh, being iPaaS platform. So that is how we say we sort of broadcast the definition to MuleSoft so that it's available. But the definition is on Heroku. Now my question is, in such a setup, first of all, will the API ops help here? Or if there is already something in MuleSoft, so that when a new version of my service
Yeah.
comes up in Heroku, right? Again, is there an auto way to propagate that and manage the lifecycle?
Yeah, that is what exactly I was saying. There is currently no way to like automate it, but they are coming up with a product which will help the external entities. Like currently, whatever we are designing and developing on the Exchange, I mean Design Center, right? So we are able to publish it to Exchange. We are able to share it with others, and the API ops is kind of like implemented. You can say not fully, but yes, to some extent at least. But this provision we don't have it for the users who are actually using other tools, like they are building using Django, or as you said, using Heroku and the other platforms. So for them, they'll be coming up with some tool which will actually enable the life cycle from that point. But
Okay,
currently
correct.
there is nothing as such. Yeah,
Correct.
but let's
And-
hope for it in the future and then very near future, like maybe.
And any documentation links? I mean, maybe at end of the session, if any of you have. you
Yes,
can share.
definitely. I
Yeah.
have made the documentation link. If I'll just show you. Okay. Yeah, if I have this links wherein actually I have got API ops and this 2 Azure DevOps blogs as well, which I have written. So this has like all the step-by-step process. Like if you're just going through this blogs itself, you will be able to like build your own pipeline, and you should be in a position that even if there is a task coming for you, you should be able to do proper full-fledged CI/CD. I mean, not just with Azure DevOps, but it could be with anything else, because only the tools will be changing, right? But the overall idea and the concepts will remain the same. So even if you're going ahead with Bitbucket, GitLab, or Bamboo, or any other CI/CD tool, you will be just doing the same thing, just differently. I mean, in terms of syntax or something like that. But yeah, overall things will remain the same.
Sure, thanks. So what are the
So-
links you shared? Again, I'm assuming as part of the presentation, we'll get that.
Yeah,
right in
I
the-
mean, I have added in the presentation as well. So whenever
Okay,
these guys, they'll be uploading it, you'll be getting it. And also I'll just share it in the chat sections once I complete the demo.
Perfect, great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi,
Uh,
Akshata. Anil here.
Yeah, hi,
Uh,
Anil.
So is this API ops is a concept like DevOps, or is it something MuleSoft is going to have
No,
a
it's a concept like DevOps. You can say, let me just open this thing where it is. Not sure. Yeah, this. So it's more like a concept of DevOps. You can say, see, it's a standard concept. It's not relevant to mules or something like this. The API ops, API Talist. So they are mainly about streamlining the API. The team members. It's more like a DevOps and all this thing. I'll just ping you guys this thing as well. There are several blogs you'll find. And yeah, I just forgot to tell you guys one more thing. If you all are more interested in learning about APIs and all, right? So there is an event coming up, the interface thing, which is on like 30 and 30th of June. It's more about the APIs and all the security. And it's not from the MuleSoft perspective or anything. It's more from the generic perspective. You can find all the integration tool, which are basically like we can say the different tools, right? Whatever we are having. So TIBCO and other tools. So yeah, you can find them as well. So I'll just share this link. Let's not go. Where is this chat section? Okay. Yeah, you all can just register it for whichever event if you find it interesting, for more from an API this perspective, API development and all perspective. So coming back to yeah, the API ops. So these are the components which are included in API ops, and you can just see that they are more or less related to DevOps as well. We find all these things, or all the standards and process which are followed in DevOps CI/CD as well. The only thing is they are focusing more on the API side and also on the API count, the reusability. Sorry, all these things also come into picture. Okay, when you're doing the versioning, the deprecation of older APIs, those need, and moving to the new API. So we need to consider all these changes as well. Rather than doing manually, it will be better if you're doing it automatically. And currently, we can explore the eGit plugin option, which is there by MuleSoft, maybe to do something on the API ops end. So moving ahead, how like the DevOps with the Mule API and what are the structures, this is mainly the overview architecture. Okay, I can just explain you, like currently we'll be developing our design in the design center, we'll be designing our RAML or API, you can say. Okay, and after designing RAML in the design center, we'll be publishing it to Exchange, we'll be making it available for others and all. Okay, and then we'll be having a Anypoint Studio wherein we'll be like scaffolding the APIs, we'll start the development, we'll start the implementation of the RAML and everything. Okay, once we are completed with the development, the local testing and all, once we are sure with the code, our own code, we'll just move it to the source code repository. So a source code repository could be anything. It could be Bitbucket, GitLab, or your Azure DevOps repository or anything. Okay, and once we push a code to the source code repository, a build trigger will be running. A build trigger, in the sense, this is the place wherein the Jenkins or any of the CI/CD pipeline will come into the picture. Okay, from this from this place until the next deployment phase, this is actually where the CI/CD thing comes into picture. Okay, so you'll be actually running the build server. Okay, and I mean, not you will be running, it will be scheduled. It could be scheduled at your preference. You could be either schedule it some on weekly basis, hourly basis, or once in 24 hours, whatever scheduler you want. Just like the way we have this cron schedulers and all, similar kind of schedulers you can schedule on the pipeline as well. Or you can do one thing, that there will be a continuous deployment or continuous building. What you mean by continuous building is whenever I'm pushing this code to the master branch or whichever branch you have specified as. So once I push this code, my build should be triggered. In the case, my pipeline should start running and the code should be deployed. Okay, so this, I mean, first development, pushing my code, then deploying with the Jenkins, and then deploying it to the Mule server, which is the Anypoint platform. So this will be in case of first run. But suppose if I want to do it constantly, like if there are 10 developers who are doing 10 commits or 10 push in a day, they're pushing the code at several times in a day. So in that case, the build server, it again and again, it has to, if you run this command, right, Maven, what we call it as Maven clean build package or Maven build package. So again, you will see that it is downloading all the dependencies and all. Okay, so to avoid this thing, what we can do, we can store the artifacts in the sense the libraries, the dependencies and all, which are generated while building. So what happens, it won't download it again and again. Whatever is currently present in the artifactory, like the Nexus artifactory or the JFrog artifactory, it will reuse them. Okay, even Azure provides its own inbuilt artifactory if you want to store something. And yeah, apart from this, yeah, once it is deployed, you can just see where you want to deploy. You want to deploy to dev, QA, production, and there are different gates as well. Like once it is deployed to QA, but you don't want to move it to, once it is deployed to dev, sorry, but you don't want to move it ahead to QA or production. So you can apply a stop over here, that only if my senior or someone from the client side, if they do a approval, only then it will be deployed to QA. Only if there is a sign off for production, it will be deployed to production. Otherwise, it will just come and stop till dev. And even the next iteration, if someone else is deploying the code, it will come and stop to dev. Okay, so we can see, I'm not sure if this is visible or not. Are you able to see this thing? Yeah. So what are the quality gates which we have for development? So here, if you'll see the unit test coverage, code coverage, we'll be checking it, all these things, that if the code coverage is met, if the unit test case is having a test coverage of something like 80%, 70%, whatever gate you want to have. And then when it comes to QA to staging, we'll also have something sign offs and all, right? Functional and integration requirements or some testing sign off, and then only it will be moved to the staging environment or to the production environment. So there are different sign off. So all these things also can be achieved with your CI/CD pipeline. Okay. Any doubts until now?
Actually, sorry, I have another doubt. If I can ask it now.
No, that's completely fine. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, this is really good. So the scenario I have is like, so I have two parallel development streams going on. One, what you have on the picture on the API development, like I mentioned, Heroku, Mule, and all. And I'm working more on the Salesforce. So there is a Salesforce development. You can imagine another similar pipeline going on. Okay. Like you have at the bottom of the slide, pretty much both the pipelines have the same flow, but different environments. Like the pipeline you're showing here is more Mule, and for me Heroku. The other one is more Salesforce. Yeah. So my question is, now I might have a release where I have to, like you said, develop an API. Which again has to be in something on Mule, and of course my release something on the Salesforce side is also going on. So like I said, my production or whatever QA stage.
Yeah.
So there is.
Yes.
I mean,
I get it.
You got it right. That I'll release from there, and here I'll release from that. So is there a way to coordinate between both these pipelines?
Yes, definitely there is a way to coordinate between the pipeline. It depends on the trigger what you are setting. I mean, also if you're having some common repository kind of thing, that could be used as a trigger, or something else. Like whenever when we just come to the demo part, right, it'll show you what all different triggers and all we have. So either something of that, or we are also having different plugins and all. Even the Jenkins has different plugins, or even when it comes to Azure DevOps, we have different plugin. Let's see if the one which we are talking about is present or not. So can you just please remind me again, a demo time?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah,
so we can, yeah, sure. So apart from this, yeah, what all are the prerequisite you should be having or you should be aware about? So this is something like the Einstein platform,
I have one
Anypoint
question.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Ravi.
So if developers do multiple commits in a small amount of time, for each commit, does it try to do a auto build and deploy?
It's up to you. Only if you have checked the configuration as continuous integration, if it is checked, only then it will do. If you don't want it to happen, if you want that all the accumulated builds, like if there are 10 developers who are doing pushing the code 1 hour each, something like that, then at the end of the day, maybe at 12 midnight or something like that, you can keep a scheduled time wherein the build will take place. Either that could be, or only if there is a single developer, then I could have all the time whenever I'm pushing new changes, I want my changes to be deployed to Cloud Hub. So that could be done.
Okay.
It's customizable.
Okay. Is it there in demo as well, this thing?
Yeah, it's there in demo. Yeah, I'll just show that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what are the prerequisites? Basically, you should be having Anypoint Cloud Hub trial account. So you all can sign up for free. It's like a 30 days trial account. Okay. Yeah, you can create multiple accounts if you want. And yeah, you need the username, password, and which environment. So currently I have Sandbox and I think design environment, which are the default environments which come along with the package. Okay. So that's the first prerequisite. Then you should be aware about the Maven. So why it is mentioned Maven, because earlier Maven was not packaged along with the Anypoint Studio, but currently if you'll see, Maven comes inbuilt. If you're downloading your studio, the latest version, any of the version, Maven will be already there in your studio. You don't have to do anything explicitly, but you should be aware about what are the components and all present when it comes to Maven. So this is how basically an Apache Maven thing, you can download any version, just download it from the Google. And what are the main things is you need to be aware about your settings.xml. Okay, inside settings.xml, you will be having, this is how my settings.xml looks like. So this is something, the Exchange server, right? The MuleSoft, this snippet, the code snippet, you need to add it in your Exchange server basic settings.xml basically. I'll also show you in this blog itself. I've given here somewhere. Yeah, it should be there somewhere over here about the settings code snippet, not this one, sorry. Yeah, this is the yeah, make sure your settings.xml has a below server and the profile. So what is the server and profile? Is basically the MuleSoft Exchange repository link. So all the connectors and all, right, so it will be downloaded from this Exchange while we are building. So just make sure that you are adding this as a part of your settings.xml, which is there locally. Okay, because we'll have to upload the settings.xml going forward in the Azure DevOps as well. Okay, so this is one second prerequisite we can say when it comes to Maven. And Maven, we all are aware about it's a package management utility tool. Okay. And then when it comes to Maven, there are 3 life cycles as well: the default, clean, site. Default is mainly the building up or maybe packaging up. Okay, cleaning is to whatever the old releases or old commit or old target file dependencies and artifactories we have generated. So those things will be cleaned up. Okay, you can also use a separate command Maven clean and all to build. And then the site is basically the deployment phase which comes into. Okay, so why are we focusing more here? I mean, let me just show you. Yeah, these are the different commands and all which comes with Maven. In this slide, I guess I've added the cheat sheet as well somewhere. Yeah, so there are like, if you don't remember all this Maven command, just simply visit this. I mean, any of the cheat sheet site where you actually get all the commands which you can use. All right. And these are the important phases when it comes to Maven lifecycle: build, test, validate, verify, install. If you are preparing for MCD and all certification, I guess, or MCI, these things actually will be asked you in the question, I guess. I mean, not just entirely this thing, but yeah, related to Maven and everything. So yeah, validate, compile, test, package, just like the way we have a normal life cycle, API life cycle or something. We have this test cases and this commands as well. Okay, so normally in this DevOps phase, right, we'll be using the deploy command, we'll be using package. Okay, you can use compile, you can use whatever you want, it's customizable and as per your needs, but I have used package and deploy because that's what I need actually, and it actually does most of the task. So moving, if you want to run the execute the entire life cycle and all in the deploy phase, yeah. If you want to deploy it to the cloud up or anywhere, you'll be using Maven deploy as it. Okay, and we can install, we can use Maven install to install everything, like all the artifacts and everything. Okay, and this is how actually the command looks like, which we'll be using Maven clean package deploy, or I'm currently using Maven package deploy because if you don't want it to be cleaned all the time, cleaning means it will be deleting all the dependencies, and again it will be downloading them. But if suppose if you're someone who's going to use Artifactory, like the Nexus Artifactory, JFrog Artifactory, then you don't need this clean thing, right? It will be directly done. And yeah, that is all about Maven. Apart the second thing, yeah, the Mule Maven plugin, this is a very important thing, because without this you won't be able to deploy your code or your implementation, whatever you have designed in the Anypoint platform on this thing. So let me just show you how it is. So this is what we call it as, you need to just add it in your pom.xml. Okay, and this is how it looks like. You are having this, can you see just Mule Maven plugin, the version? There are different versions and you can read more about them in the MuleSoft documentation as well. And these are the properties which I need to include, the Cloud Hub deployment properties. We are aware that whenever we want to deploy from any external entity or any external tool, we should be including all these credentials, the username, password, business group, workers, worker type, the region, sandbox. This is basically the it's giving you the location that kahan pe jaake, where I have to actually go and install, I mean deploy the project. Okay, so this is giving me all the information about my Anypoint platform account. All right, these are a very basic stuff which we should be knowing when it and it's about your account, your username, your password which you have just created. All right, and also make sure that the naming, I mean the standards, right, this conventions, it should be proper. If it is sandbox, it should be like this. You cannot give it as small as and give it out. Okay, so about these things, you will actually get the proper naming conventions and all over the site, which is like if you just type in Mule Maven plugin, they call it as MMP. Yeah, in this documentation side, you'll actually get to know what are the commands and all, what are the different versions, how can you deploy it to different Cloud Hub environments, if it is Cloud Hub, Runtime Fabric, or any of them. What are the different Maven goals which it supports? It supports package deploy, Mule deploy, and undeploy. So what is the difference between deploy and Mule deploy is, this will automatically deploy to Cloud Hub, Runtime Fabric, or on-premise, but okay, any of them. But if we are doing Mule deploy, then it will be like deploying from a particular you can say Artifactory or something like that, from a specified location it will be deploying. Okay, and yeah, any questions? I could see if there are. Let me just see. Amit, are there any questions you have noted down? Can we deploy domain projects using MBN? Yes, we can deploy domain projects as well. Yeah, as I ended up 403 using build. So where were you trying to deploy Sai or Ramakrishna? Y'all can maybe unmute yourself and let me know.
Yeah, Akshata. So what I was trying to do is, the settings.xml. I mean, I tried when it was failing when accessing the Nexus repo. So I was just wondering if we should we use different credentials or the enterprise credentials given MuleSoft, or the basic Anypoint credentials.
You can use the basic Anypoint because currently whatever I'm showing the demo, I'm using the basic free trial account for it. But with regards to Nexus Artifactory, and I've actually never worked with this thing, what you call as domain project. Like I've never deployed it using, deployed it normally. So not really sure about it. If anyone has done, maybe y'all can help us out. But yeah, maybe the steps we are showing in the demo, if something clicks you, maybe you can just let me know.
Yes, Akshana, I did it for one of my for my MCI training. So yep, we can do that. We can deploy.
Thanks, Amit.
Yep.
Yeah. Can we deploy projects into the AWS EC2 using this pipeline? Yes, we can do this, Ashley. It's not just for CloudHub, it's for any of the platform, whichever, wherever you want to deploy it. But whenever you're doing a MuleSoft thing, right, with a MuleSoft project, so you need to be having this Mule Maven plugin. That's the only important thing which you need to keep in mind. I mean, this thing you need to add in the pom.xml. Okay. And these steps I have also given it down over here somewhere, like, sorry, again, the wrong block. What all things? Yeah, this is this things, steps plugin, what you need to include, and what are the workers, vCores, and the region, whatever the environment you will be having. Okay. Anything else? All right, moving ahead. Yeah, automate. You can just deploy it to any of the Mule instance and the on-premise standalone runtime manager using this. And this is the Mule Maven plugin, the CloudHub properties, configuration stuff. Okay. And what are the different source code? You all must be using GitHub, or any of the any of the tools and all. So basic commands which we should be aware about: clone, commit, add, push. Okay, in order to implement these things. All right. And yeah, about the build tool, Azure DevOps. So it is one of the tool, a CI/CD tool. There are several other tools we can say. There are there are different kinds of tools, basically Bamboo. It depends from your client which one they are subscribed to, which one they are having the subscription of, and what they are going to use. Okay, it's an automation server that helps you to perform CI/CD operations and all. So is this diagram clear to you guys? I mean, yeah, this is how the overall architecture and what we'll be seeing in the demo as well. So once we have a code in the cloud, Anypoint Studio, right? So what we'll be doing, we'll be just pushing the code to Git or whichever source code repository you'll be having. Okay, and they have shown you how we have different branches. Okay, develop, test, master branch. We could be having just one branch, or we could be having different branches as well. It completely depends on your strategy, what strategy you're going to implement to build a pipeline, to build a release pipeline, and all these things. Okay, so once you build a pipeline, the release pipeline, it will be, see, they are pointing to the development environment, which means it will go ahead and deploy it to the this thing dev environment, or the test, and it will go ahead and deploy to the test environment and the master if you want it for production thing. Or you could do one thing, that you could be having the same branch master for all of them as well. Okay, I think yeah, that has not been shown over here, but yes, that is uh, that thing as well can be implemented when it comes over. You could be having just one single branch, and you can deploy it to different places. And that's where in the artifact also you could be having just one artifact. I mean, for all of them. So we'll make sure that there is a consistency, and the same code has been deployed at different places. All right. And then there are different approvals as well, which you can configure, like the release manager approval, the release, and the testers approval, QA approvals, and all with this. So this is something which we'll be seeing how we'll implement this.
Akshita, question there.
Yes.
So do we have CLI for Mule deployment? Okay, that's something you want to show in the demo, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, currently I'm not using CLI, but if you want to use CLI, there is Anypoint CLI, which you can also use for the demo purpose. But everything has been done from the, sorry, Anypoint. See, this is Anypoint platform CLI. If you want, you can do all the operations using Anypoint CLI as well. Or yeah, see, everything can be done from your as well. But currently I'm not just doing anything from the CLI point. So basically I have everything over here in my repository itself, and it's connected from my GitHub desktop. So I'll just push my code. I mean, it's already pushed basically for the demo purpose. I'll just show you.
Somebody wants to learn more about CLI. There was one meetup we did. I guess it was the last meetup for Faridabad, Pankaj, right?
Yes, Siva. So we did, and yeah, and we would like to do it again.
Share the link or something on the chat, Pankaj.
Yes, something. Yes, let me search and then we'll see. Definitely, good idea.
So I had a question on the the CLI. Let me know if I can ask now or should I park it?
Yes, sure. You can. There are experts here, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so what I understand is, so going back to my earlier question, Akshata, which you said like during demo time to remind. So just again, I won't take the entire scenario. What I understand is, like I said, I have a pipeline. It is going to do some deployment of Salesforce, which beyond the discussion now. So from the same pipeline, using CLI, I can also do the deployment of my APIs to any point, right?
Yes, you can do.
Okay. Basically, I can have different targets in my pipeline. So
Different.
I can have one
Yeah.
target for Salesforce, another for Anypoint CLI to do its deployment. And that way, like you said, I can have two sort of parallel flows coming into one single pipeline and going on to different destinations, right?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So moving ahead with the demo, this is how the Azure DevOps platform or the outline it looks like. So this is something like you can create it for free. It's a trial account which I created almost around 2 years back, you can say. And yeah, it's still working. I don't know how. I mean, but they gave me some free hours and it's still working. Okay, so these are different things. You can actually have your Kanban board as well over here. If you'll see this Jira task, and also some of the client, they also use this thing uh, for the agile management, sprint management. You can it could be used as a Kanban board. Okay, or if you're in actually sprint and all, you could use it. Then there is a repository which actually is like a GitHub repository, GitLab repository. I mean, Git repository. And this is my code, which I have already published it over here. This is a basic. I'll just show you the code as well. So this is it's a very simple thing just for demo purpose. I have added a listener, a set payload wherein I'm just printing a message, Azure DevOps demo, and just a logger, basically nothing else apart from this. And the only thing which I have added is in the pom.xml. I have added the plugin. Okay. So if you'll see I have given the credential, I mean the application name as well over here. So today maybe we can just give I'll just edit it from here itself. It should be fine. I'll give the application name as Faridabad demo. Yeah. Okay. And yes, I can either do it commit from here or maybe locally, but it's fine. I'll just do it from here itself. And yeah, it's been committed. So if you'll see the other thing, the worker types and all, it is a small worker, a business group is API Zero. So business group, from where you get it, let me just log in. The Anypoint platform. You need to be having your free trial account, Anypoint platform account. And do try it out. Once we are done with the session, maybe you all can just try it on yourself as well. It's very easy thing to set up. Okay. So this is the organization name, and the object store as true, because if you are using some older older MuleMaven plugin version, you won't get this error. But if you are using a newer version, you need to set it as object store v2 as true, as it will be giving you some errors and all that the object store is not mapped and something like that. Okay, and these are all my repositories, the dependencies and all which I'm having. Okay, this is not something extraordinary. This is something normal repository dependency, sorry, for whichever connectors and all I've used. But suppose if you're someone who's using some extraordinary connector like the JSON logger or something like that, then you need to be having that connectors dependency stored in your Artifactory, JFrog and Access, and then you should be giving those links as well over here. Okay. So that's about the repository. So moving on to the next thing. Just a minute. Where is this pipeline? Yeah, in pipeline. Okay, we'll be creating some pipelines as well. But before that, as a prerequisite, we need to be having a secure file stored over here. So currently I have just uploaded my settings.xml, which is same setting like this one. Okay, whatever we have over here. Okay, it needs to have the this Exchange server basically enabled. This is my organization setting.xml, so it could be having few more things as well. But what is more important is, as we said, this thing, this yeah, this part of the code snippet, the Exchange ID, the mule, and all this thing. This profile should be a part of your settings.xml, and just upload it out over here. So uploading is very simple. I cannot show you the settings.xml because it's a secure file. It means that once you upload the settings.xml, you cannot view it, or you cannot edit it out. You can just delete it and upload a new one. That's it. That's why it's called a secure file. You can create some variable groups and all over here, but we'll come to that later point. So yeah, for now, this is settings.xml, which I have uploaded. So coming to the pipeline, the main part of it, I'll just create a new pipeline and we'll see how how easy it is to, yes.
Ashish here.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ashish.
try with the connected apps, CI/CD with connected apps.
Connected app as in?
Yeah, so I mean, right now we are using credentials, right? In Anypoint Platform credentials. Instead of that, we can use the connected apps, right?
Sorry, I'm not getting which connected app you're saying.
Yeah, so okay. Instead of Anypoint Platform credentials, we can use the connected apps to do the job. Okay, so there the responsibilities of your you can define the responsibilities what you wanted to do. Instead of giving entire access to your Anypoint platform, you can create connected apps and use those client ID and client secret. So I'm just
okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. And, like even like we can also use one. We can also create one user and then we can give the credentials to deploy.
yeah, that will be definitely helpful because yeah.
Yeah, so multiple way of authentication. Yeah, connected caps is the they launch a new recently some time back. Yeah, we can create one application and we can use those credentials. Yeah, I think that is the one way of authentication. Just passing the genuine password. That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I wasn't aware about it. I mean, maybe I'll learn more about it later. Thanks for bringing that up. So so when we are building a pipeline, right? So if you'll see the configurations and all, so there are two methods. If you'll see there is a user classic editor to create a pipeline without YAML, and one is with the YAML. The using YAML is like a traditional approach. You can say that's how we have been building the pipeline over the ages with the help of Jenkins and all. So if you'll click where your source code repository is, you'll select the source code repository, and then your pipeline, you just select Maven, and then it will generate a YAML file for you, right? And then you need to be actually a DevOps guy, a proficient one who should be actually doing all this packaging goals, not a proficient one, but at least you should be aware about the steps and all what are involved. So this is something like a more manual process wherein you'll just define your goal, package, and then deploy, and then whatever things you want to do ahead with it. So this is how we have been doing with Jenkins as well. But today we won't be using this traditional way. What we'll do is we'll just go to the pipelines part. Okay, where did the pipeline go? Okay, we'll just click on the new pipeline, and we'll select the use the classic editor. So with this, we don't have to actually write manually any of the code or any of the configurations and all. Everything has already been set up. Okay, so yeah, let it come up. So you can select whichever repositories and all you want. So currently my code is lying in the Azure Git repos. It could be GitHub or it could be anywhere. You can select that. I'll just use Azure repos Git, and then the master branch. You could be having different branches and all. You could set up different branch dev test for different pipelines as well. Okay, I'll click on continue. And then if you'll see over here, there are .NET, Android, different kind of stuff present. There are different connectors. There are some paid ones as well. This is a free account, so I may not be able to see all of them, but if you'll see, there are several. I'm not sure if there is anything on Salesforce side. Yeah, there is nothing. But maybe if anything, you're using the underline, you all are using the Visual Studio Code for your development, and also that's wherein you can actually just configure it. I'll be using Maven as we are mainly dealing with the Maven configurations and all. So what happens when I'm clicking Maven, it actually gives me a ready-made pipeline, all the steps. So if you'll see, these are the different steps: Maven, pom.xml, copy files to publish artifact. So all I need to do is I just need to do the configurations, and everything is taken care by this pipeline itself. So I'll just change the name, demo meetup or something like that, whatever you can have. And I'll just define the goals I want to package and then deploy. All right. And the options. So here I already have some option. Yeah, before moving on to the options, I need to use the file, right, which we have added in the download secure file. So you just have to drag and drop, like wherever you want to do whatever you want to do. Like your step, these are your steps, basically the pipeline. So what you have seen in the this thing, right, over here, In this diagram. So there are different steps. First, you'll be doing your Maven stuff, Sonar Cube, Nexus, and then whatever. So these are similarly your steps. If you want to add something else, like if you want to add any of the build tool, packaging tool, or something like anything basically. So you can just click from here, okay? And if something for testing related stuff, you can publish your test cases and all. You can mark it from here, okay? SonarQube, I'm not sure if there is, yeah, see, this are some SonarQube plugins and all as well. If you want to add them, you can add. So there are several plugins. There is also a marketplace which they have for some paid plugins and all, which you can get it from here. All right. So if you're using something extraordinary, make sure you're just going through this. So you get to know about the different plugins, different tools and all. So this is like very much in depth. But as a Mule developer, I never went into that details. I just wanted to deploy my project to CloudHub and using the very easy and the steps which will actually work all the times. So this is a download secure file wherein I'll be using the secure, this is settings.xml, which we have already downloaded. We have seen in the library, right? The secure file section. So it's the same settings.xml. I'll have to give it some name, reference name, so that I can use it in the later point of time. Like in my, make sure you're saving it all the time, otherwise it will be lost, like whatever work you're doing. So the settings.xml, I'll be using it in my Maven POM, this thing in my build package. So if you'll see over here, JUnit test case result, if I want to use them, I can. If not, then it's up to you. Code analysis, you can be using SonarQube, whatever you want to make it. Or if you're doing something else, you can just run check style. There are several options. Basically, you can do whatever you want. You can select from your options. You can add more options and all. So currently my goal is to package and deploy. I'll package my bundle my application and deploy it to CloudHub. I need to provide more details. So this is the command which I've kept handy. Okay, the settings are yeah, this one. So I'll just copy paste this thing and I'll write it over here. So this is like giving the settings, right? Whatever name we have given in the download settings files, I'm using that. And then this command dedeploy, anypoint username password. I could have given the anypoint username password in the pom.file itself, or whatever I'm exposing it over there, right? I could have been externalize it over here itself, like, or maybe something like that. But currently for security purpose, I'm only just having anypoint username and password as parameterized one. And I'll have to provide the values. So I'll store them as variables. I'll just go in the, these are some predefined variables. I'll add them as variables, okay? I'll have to add new one as well. So okay, I'll add my password too. And there is an option over here to lock it. Okay, I mean, yeah. So while I'm typing my this thing, passwords, it will be secured. I hope it's right. Sorry. So after entering password, we are all set. Yeah, just come back to your this thing pom.xml and check if this pom path is correct. I don't think this pom path is correct, because if you'll see my repository, right? Where is the repo? Oh, let me just open it. So it's inside, I mean, it's inside Azure DevOps. This is not the folder where it is, my POM is. POM is in this folder, right? Azure DevOps demo wala folder. So what, this is something which came by default, it automatically. So I want to unlink this and I want to traverse to my repo. This is my parent folder, which actually has the POM. So I will select this and I'll do okay. Okay. And then I'll just do a save and queue. What it means by save and queue is it will actually save my changes and it will add it to queue. Queue in the sense it will start running. Yeah, before that, if you have seen while doing the save and queue, there were other options as well. There is an agent. So you could be having different agents which are running. And if you want multiple pipelines to be running in parallel, you should be having a paid account of Azure DevOps. Otherwise, it won't let you. This is a very free trial account. And if you'll go into this agent jobs, right, you can actually see what all things are being performed. Okay. So just starting the job, it's initializing, and then it will do the pre-download secure file it has downloaded, and then it will just check out the code from the master branch, and then the Maven thing will start. See, it is downloading the thing from the public repository and all, from the exchange. Basically, it's downloading all the connectors. So once this downloading thing has completed, it will go ahead and it will deploy it to CloudUp. I could see many messages. Yeah. Are the agents basically virtual machines? Yeah, they are the virtual machines. We don't have to create anything manually. It's already done. I mean, if you'll just, I'll go ahead and show you. There are some, okay, in this pipeline itself, if I'm editing the pipe, or I can just go ahead and run the pipeline. Yeah, just queue. So if you'll see in this agent, there are different agents. There are different versions. You can select whichever you want to. The basic one is Ubuntu. I don't know why I've been using that all the time, but yeah, this will be replicated, I think, tomorrow. So I should move ahead with the next one, and you can use any of them. Okay. And there are other sections as well. Sorry. Yeah, the Azure pipeline pools, if you want it to be public, private, it has always been the hosted Azure pipeline. And if you have some advanced sections, some passwords and all the debug properties, you can select your branch from where you want the pipeline to be running. Currently, I just have one branch. And then, yeah, you're over in the triggers, right? So in the triggers, you have this enable continuous integration. So if I check this thing, so what happens is whenever I'll be pushing any changes to this branch, the pipeline will be triggered automatically. Okay, this I can do. This is a very good approach if there is only one developer. But suppose if there are multiple developers who have been constantly pushing their code, so in that case, you can have a scheduled time. You can add scheduler when you want to actually deploy the code at, okay, what time of the day, and basically which branch you want to add in the filter. Okay, and after build completion, what do you want to do? Is there some other pipeline which you want to trigger or something like that? Like you asked the question, right, Krish? So if there is something else, multiple pipelines are running parallelly, something like that, or something else you want to trigger. So there are different pipelines. I can either trigger any one of them.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Akshita.
But I think yours is a bit different. It is like Salesforce and MuleSoft, something.
Right,
But yeah,
right. Yeah. I mean, the source code repo is same.
Okay, so even that, if you're having multiple this thing, right, pipeline, so you can do once after a Salesforce has been completed, you can just trigger your MuleSoft pipeline, something like that.
Okay, awesome. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and there are different build properties, whatever you want to enable it. And this is just related to pipeline. Okay, while our pipeline is just deploying, we can just go through all this configuration. You can actually, I'll advise you to create your own Azure DevOps account, a free account, and just try out all these things, because it actually adds to your skill set as well. And you get more familiar to DevOps, like what is DevOps? How do you get a sense of confidence when you're actually been told to develop a pipeline? So even if you're going ahead with other tools, right, like it could be Bamboo, or maybe Bitbucket or anything. So the overall architecture will still remain the same. The only thing that will change is the configuration steps. It will be somewhat here and there, but overall thing will remain the same. You can also see the history of this pipeline, when how many times it has failed, how many times it has, like what are the changes I have done, and everything. Okay, so while it is running, let's just see the logs. Yeah, it's still downloading. So can you just see like how much time? It's been 3 minutes. It sometimes take around 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes as well. So to avoid this downloading steps, right, what we do is we store these things in the Artifactory. So currently we won't be seeing the Artifactory because I have never actually implemented the Artifactory, but I can show you, like, guys, how we can implement the Artifactory and all. There is Azure DevOps Artifactory as well. If you'll see this thing, artifacts. So this is wherein you can create the plugin set. This is something inbuilt, and if you're using a free account, they won't actually let you create that much. I'm not sure, there's some limitation on creating the feed and all. Feed is basically what Artifactory, what Maven and all you want to get connected to, you want to download. Okay, so once it has been downloaded, the next time onwards, what you can do, you can just reuse that thing. I have a document wherein they have actually shown how you can build the Artifactory and all. Not sure if this is visible. Yeah. So in this,
so feed, we are going to update that repository in our setting.xml file, Akshita.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you need to be giving the configurations where you want to do, how you want to cache it and all.
So
See the artifact feed, they have given the name. You need to create a field and you need to give it in your pipeline thing, or you can also add, I mean, this is something which they have given from the YAML perspective, but you could also add it something like from the, let me just show you tag sources and, okay. Yeah, this is how they added tag sources, and you need to be giving the feed name, feed number and all. Hello, yeah, you were saying something?
no, no. The feed, when we enable that feed, do we need to enable, do we need to add on that cache and the pipeline?
Yes, we need to add the caching, the pipeline caching. This is, and these are the things which will be used in the variables. Maven cache folder. So where we want to cache it out, and where is it been like stored? How we'll be caching it out? Create the two pipeline variable before building. So we have seen how do we build a pipeline variable, right? The same way how we have added the Anypoint Platform username and password. So similarly, we'll do that, and we'll add this task. So this task they have added in case of a manual pipeline. Okay, how do we do it manually in the YAML file and all? But there must be some option to do it with this pipeline as well. So yeah, in the library they have created a pipeline caching variable, which were those two variables. Okay, these two, Maven cache, and then uh, yeah, even over here we can create the two variables and we'll allow it for all the pipelines to use it. Okay, and then they have linked it in the pipeline. And then in the goal, we won't be having package, we'll be just having deployed all the time. So it will be just deploying with the same package, whatever we have, the existing ones. And if you'll see this, this is how they have created different artifacts and all, which they have been using. So definitely there is a documentation present and how you will be doing it all, that stuff. For this artifact thing, but currently our focus is not on artifact, it's mainly on the pipeline. And the next thing we'll be seeing is more about the release pipeline as well. So yeah, if you can see, it's been deployed, I guess. Let me just refresh my, yeah, Anypoint Platform demo Faridabad. So it has been deployed to CloudUp with very bare minimum steps and whatever was needed. That is something very basic thing, but definitely as per your client requirements, and you can consult with the DevOps team as well. You can go ahead and you can actually add more stuff to it. More fragments to it. You can be having, this is something like very basic, just a download, secure, and do a package deploy. You can play around with artifacts, with SonarQube, with whatnot, like whatever things you think it is important from a project perspective, you can definitely add. And you can also view the YAML file. Yeah, this is something where if we have seen the previous thing, right, artifact addition and all, you can actually add it over here as well. All right. And suppose if you're building this pipeline for once, but you want to reuse this pipeline, then even in that case, you can actually, there is an option I've seen, we can export this pipeline and you can share it. So some of your teammates who are working on different projects, they can use the same pipeline. All you need to do is just import the pipeline. Yeah, that's it. So this was all about the pipeline. So next thing we'll be seeing is about the release pipeline, how different it is and how beneficial it is. Before that, if there are any questions, we'll like to take them.
Yes,
Can you please
Akshita,
tell
there
us
are some
about,
questions in the chat. Yeah.
yes, I'm taking. So can you please tell me about how can unit test cases be a part of pipeline? Yes, we need to add. So there are commands basically, test, Maven test scripts, and I mean basically if it's a part of your project when you're running and deploying it, it will be a part of this thing as well, your pipeline as well. So nothing additional you need to do. The only thing is recently I got to know that you need to be using an artifact if you want to use Maven, if you want to run Maven test cases. Okay.
So Akshita, I have one question here regarding that environment wise. I have module
Yes.
that develop. Okay, I have two environments like develop environment and one another one is QA environment. Okay, the artifact is generated part of build Maven build. That can I deploy that jar in the QA environment with the same name, or else do we need to?
Yes, I'll to the environment perspective, I'm coming about that in the release pipeline thing.
Okay.
how we can deal with the different, I mean, if suppose if we are having different environment and different strategies and all, so in that case, how we can deal ahead with it. I'll just come to it in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Before that, yeah. Any other questions? Please help me, Amit, Pankaj.
Hi,
What all
Akshita.
pipeline details need to be added in the Mule app to sync? So the only details you need to add in the Mule app is the pom.xml, which I've shared, the Mule Maven plugin. That's it. I mean, these are the only deployment configurations, and you can easily find it on this thing as well. The Mule documentation for Mule Maven plugin, or either in the blog section, for which I'll be just sharing the link in some time. Okay.
Hi,
Yeah,
Akshita.
that's it. Yes. Hi, Vivek.
Akshita, like, what is the process to deploy to the on-prem server? Like, for the cloud, we know we have a Maven plugin. Like, how to deploy to the on-prem servers, like Linux servers?
Okay, so in if you're not deploying, yeah, we still need to be using the Mule Maven plugin, Ashley. And to come to your question, when we're deploying to on-premise server, we need to give the path of that server basically. So in that case, we could be either using Anypoint CLI or something like that. I've never really tried about it. But if anyone here has tried deploying to on-premise server or any other different server, can you please help me out? Amit,
What
Pankaj.
is the question again, Akshita?
Yeah, so if you want to deploy it out to different servers, right, on premise and also, how do we do it? What are the steps involved?
You just need to point it from the POM. Just point it to. I mean, you need to do that configuration like you do for the Cloud Hub, right? Same way you have to give servers or clusters
So
in the.
this is something Cloud Hub deployment related stuff. So there will be something else coming up here.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, I mean, do we have?
Yeah. So let me answer. Yeah, we are using the on-premise deployment, and we have created the REST APIs. We are using the MuleSoft REST APIs. Okay, and in the Jenkins pipeline, we are calling those MuleSoft REST APIs for the deployment. So we are like once the code is merged to the develop or the master branch, the build is getting triggered automatically after the merge operation event. Okay, and then we are for the deployment, we are calling the MuleSoft REST APIs, and the artifact is getting created, and the artifact we are passing with the REST pin, and then it's getting deployment on the MuleSoft control plane is the Cloud Hub, but the setup is the hybrid, the on-premise servers are there. So we are using it from last 2 years or 3 years, you can say.
Okay.
It is successfully working for us.
Yeah, thanks, Pankaj. Let me know if there are any questions, Pankaj, Amit, so we can answer it them itself, or I'll just move ahead with.
Not so, Akshita, like if you got build and deploy, like is the same or difference? Okay. And one more questions.
Yeah,
Build and
so
deploy.
build and deploy. Build is basically, if you'll see over here, right? Yeah, in this step. So actually, deploy. This is building step. Like when we are actually building, it's downloading each and every dependency, artifact, and all from the public repository, Nexus repository. It will download it first. This is called building or packaging step. Okay, and in packaging, what happens is build. It will just download it everything. Okay, download all the dependencies and all. It will build your package, and when it comes to deploy, what happens is it will deploy it to Cloud Hub. So earlier you have seen we were not having this application. There was only one application. So deployment is basically hosting it on the server. So it has been deployed on the Anypoint platform. All
Okay.
right. This is a
Thanks. Can you also cover RTF as well? Like if someone is using the personal AWS or Azure VM, like how we can do it on the yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've not used RTF, but I think the way you said for on-premise and all, it should be something similar for RTF as well.
Yes.
In pom.xml, you can add that command. Okay, just like on-prem, we can add it, right? Cloud deployment, your tag is there, right? Cloud deployment,
tag.
Exactly like that. There will be one more tag, RTF.
RTF. Okay.
Yeah, that we need to mention it. Yes, here.
Maybe we can just find it out if there is something else for, because they have definitely given it for RTF deployment as well. Something like this thing, this information. Yeah, you can definitely deploy it. I mean, basically, I've never worked with RTF. I just have information about it. So, Yes, this is how it will be. The deployment settings and all, they have all given, see, RTF deployment. But all the configurations and all, almost they are the same. We need to be aware about the environment, the replicas and all. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up. Yeah, see, they have given it for cloud up, on-premise, and you can try from different servers, whatever you are using the applications and all the strategies. Okay. Moving ahead with the release pipeline. Okay, so what is a release pipeline and how it is different from a pipeline? So pipeline, you can see it as a single source, just one pipeline deploying to like one source, one target, and that's it. But in release pipeline, it's a continuous process. Okay, where it is, you can just go into releases, and I'll just show you how it is actually looking like. Yeah, so this is something like, this is how we have, right, the release pipeline thing. We have dev servers, QA, production servers, and these are the different stages. So as someone like just ask me, how, if I'm having different environments, so how will I manage this environment, or if I'm having different strategy? We also saw in this thing where it was like mm, yeah, this one. So we have seen how it was like a different staging environment. There are different improvements required and all. Okay, and there could be like the code is coming from multiple branches. If I'm having dev branch for dev environment, QA branch for QA thing, so all these things, how am I going to manage? The answer is a release pipeline. So I will be building a release pipeline, and in that I could be I can incorporate all of these things. So these are the two main structures when it comes to a release pipeline. Okay, the artifacts and the stages. So basically what will be the artifact is the source, from where am I getting my source, and the stages are my different development environments. So let me add my artifact as currently I'll take it as my build. Okay, or it could be any of the repository. If I still want to go ahead with my uh, the older repository, I mean the this is this build in the sense my older pipeline which I have running. Okay, I mean the pipeline which I have built, right, the demo meter pipeline. So the same pipeline I can use it. I'll just select the demo meetup or any other pipeline, or it could be coming from any of your artifacts. If you're having some Jenkins or anything like that, or if you're having a code somewhere, Azure repository directly. If suppose if you're not having a pipeline currently building, so I'll just do it. This is my first time I'm doing. I'm directly going ahead with this, and I'll just go ahead and select my master branch. Okay, this could be one thing, and I'll select the default branch as master, because this is the first time I'm building and this will be my main pipeline itself. But what if I already have a pipeline existing and it is using Jenkins, or it is already I'm having an artifactory, Azure artifactory or any artifactory, then I can use it from there itself. But for now, I'll just go ahead with my current build, whichever it is, I mean the source build. Okay, and once it is done, I'll give it a name, alias name, and that's it. And then we will just, okay, I'll do add. Okay, so this is how I've added the this thing, the artifact. So I can also select a schedule to trigger how I do want to do it, like create a new if I want to do it like the cron expressions, basically like whenever I want it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or only schedule release pipeline if the source or pipeline has been changed. I mean, if basically there are any changes to the source pipeline, the demo pipeline which you have created, only then it will be triggered. So currently I'll just keep it disabled, or maybe we can just keep it enabled and add this thing. That should be fine. And after this, coming to the stages are different environments basically which you can add. So for now, I'll just add Maven. Okay, sorry, it's not there, I guess. I'll start with an empty job then. So I can give the name as dev. Okay, and yeah, and then I could be having different pre-deployment condition, the triggers, the artifact schedules, pre-deployment approvals. Like suppose if there are different entities, I could be adding. Currently, I'm the only one in the organization. There is one more, I guess. No, there is only one entity. Yeah, but if you are having like different users and all, managers and all, you can ask them as well. And how do you want to approve it? Who should approve it? And only then the deployment queue settings, deploy all in sequence, or deploy the latest change and cancel others. So there are different things, right? Okay. So triggers also you can do it manually. I mean, if suppose if the production is something which you don't want it to be automated, it is something you want to trigger automatically, I mean manually, then even that can be selected. Okay. So this is all about the pre-deployment conditions and all. So I can just replicate this, clone this, and I could be having a copy. Okay. No, not this one. To delete this thing. I just want the clone of copy of def, and I'll make it as QA. Okay, to the QA environment, and then I can make a clone of this, and this will be something like a production environment. All right. And then similarly, I could be adding conditions over here. Okay, approval. And then if there are multiple approvals, then currently I cannot find anyone. But if there are multiple approvals, like let me just add them. Yeah. So you can actually get the approval order also. If any order it can be approved, or it needs to be in some sequence or by any user. So there are different features. If you'll actually go on finding these things, right? So there are also the quality gates can be enabled. Quality gates as in like delay before the execution. I mean, after how much time this has been deployed, you want this to be deployed, something like that. So there are several settings, and this is about it. Like if suppose if you want to add multiple artifacts and multiple things, like dev will be triggered by this one, QA will be triggered by this one, and all those things as well. And this entities, right, dev, QA, production, this inside, I mean inside them, they are actually a pipeline. So if you'll just click on any of them and you'll just go to the task, okay, the dev task, the QA task. So whatever things we have done for the previous one, the original pipeline, we can do the same things over here. I mean Maven, I'll just add the Maven part over here. I'll add the secure download secure file. Okay. I'll add the settings. I'll just give settings.xml and everything. So first, what you should do, what is recommended approaches? I mean, yeah, I'm just saving this thing. So first you should actually build one component entirely. You should give all the settings and everything. Okay. And then you can just replicate this thing out. So it becomes easy, and actually all your task and all everything is replicated to other environment. It just get copied out. Okay, otherwise you'll have to configure it out again and again over here itself. And outside the pipeline, right? Yeah, as I told you, this is the new release pipeline which I've created. There is an option to download as well. Yeah, clone and import, so export. So you can also clone it out, so the similar release pipeline will be created, or you can export it out, and then if you want to create a new pipeline, you can just import it. So that actually reduces your task in doing so. So this is basically the overall pipeline, and you can have it like whatever the way you want. If you want this two tasks to be deployed in parallel, you can also do it like that. If you want to add new stages, if you want to add some new variables, and the variable groups, now it comes into picture. So suppose if you're having these different environments, right, dev, QA, production, you can create different variable group for each environment, and you can link them to the stages and all. All right, so I'll just show you how it looks like. Yeah, there are the steps given and all in it. We have actually, like in my previous project, I had implemented this release pipeline along with a simple pipeline as well. So this is how I have been adding the pipeline, the copy of dev, and then I just named it to dev, QA, UAT. Okay, and I added some pre-deployment conditions and all, and it was all set to go. It deployed in my different environments of MuleSoft. So currently, if you'll see, I just have, where is that? Yeah, I just have two environments, sandbox and design, but in your actual environment, you'll be having dev, QA, and all those things, right? So you can accordingly design it out. So this is like giving you a higher picture, and everything will be at one place. So this is like all your environments can be managed at one place, and everything will be taken care at one place. So it's very much concise and easy to manage as well. And it requires no special skills because it's very easy to configure. Similarly, you can just add variables over here, and as there are different variables. Also, one thing, if you're implementing it across all levels, may just make sure about the profiles and all. You'll be having a different dev profile, test profiles, QA profiles. Okay. Apart from this, yeah, overall we have covered the demo. Next, we'll be just seeing a bit about Jenkins, how Jenkins pipeline is and how we'll just resolve. Any questions, we can take that up. We used on-premise Jenkins setup, created wrapper class. Okay. Is there a provision to cache downloaded repository? yeah, I mean that whatever you have, even if the build fails, I'm not sure if the build failed, but if the build is successful, definitely the things will be cached out. I mean, whenever there is a first build, the things are cached. Yeah, hi. Are there any other questions? On-prem deploy.
Akshita, like for the release pipelines, like we use key vault, right? Like what does that mean, like key vaults?
Okay, key vault in the sense. I mean, you're saying like this. You want to secure it out or something like that, or
Yeah.
you want to. So I mean, yeah, you can just secure it out as well, or a plain text or something like that. Or if you want to use a vault, then in that case, if you go ahead to the library, right? Just let me save this thing. Okay, you just go to the library and there you'll find an option of secure file. So you can create a secure something variable group over here itself. So this, I mean, even if you're creating some variable group from here, right? So it won't be having access to all the pipelines and all. You can just create different like whatever you want, you can just create it out, and not all pipelines can able to access this, something like this.
Okay.
So this is basically a key vault, you can say. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, this is all about the Azure pipeline, the release pipeline. Very basic. I'll just share these links with you now. First is this one. This is the part one, and then there is the part two, which is the release pipeline. Actually, I'm planning to implement the next one as well, the artifacts and all. But yeah, definitely using this basic blogs as well. Now you should be able to definitely create a proper this thing, what we can call pipeline and all. So moving ahead with the Jenkins, and I don't have any specific thing for Jenkins, but yeah, like why there has been so much hype about Jenkins is because it's open source, free, where the plugins and all they are available. It's one of the top DevOps tool, right? It's free, open source, and all. There are several plugins and all actually included, and all of those plugins are in Java, and so it could be installed on anything. So yeah, that's why there is so much of hype about Jenkins, and everyone has been almost worked on Jenkins and all. So even while you're working with Jenkins, how the things will look like is, I mean, this is the Jenkins this thing, what we call as a platform, right? This wherein you will be actually writing your credentials and all, your username, password. And then when it comes to Mule, so yeah, we have seen the YAML file in this case, right? Where it was the YAML file, the first file which we saw. So similar file will be over here, the Jenkins file, but you need to add it along with your Anypoint project as well. I mean, whatever Jenkins project you're having, basically the project you're having, the deployment, the Mule project. So there you'll be adding your Jenkins file, and this is how the stages we have seen. So this is something a proper DevOps guy who's actually aware about all the steps. But if you'll see whatever things we have done in the Azure DevOps while we are building the original pipeline. So we have seen that somewhere, I guess. Edit pipeline, and I don't know where did it go now. There was an option to see the YAML part where we can actually edit the pipeline, export as YAML. Okay, let me just show. Yeah, if I'm downloading this, and if I'm just opening it, okay, so this is how it looks like. So this is same how we'll be doing in the Jenkins as well, but the only difference is that you'll be attaching this file and adding that file to your this thing at your source level in your MuleSoft project. This is the MuleSoft thing project application. Okay, and you'll be having all the credentials and all mentioned over here, or whatever you want to add, the username, password, and the command also. If you'll see, it's almost, I mean, everything is the same. The Mule Maven plugin you'll have to add. So there is no difference as such in using Jenkins. And yeah, these are the accepted regions values and all which we have seen I had added a small one for the worker size, and be more specific with the values. There should be like as it is. There shouldn't be any thing like you cannot change the syntax or maybe the naming convention how it is mentioned. And the steps, how we'll just create a new pipeline, and we'll just click on the pipeline thing. We'll add all the parameters and all the environment name and the schedulers. Definitely, I mean, when once you start working on Azure, you'll find Jenkins as more like manual thing. You'll have to actually do everything on yourself. All right. Selecting the repositories and all, adding the credentials and everything. But overall, it is the same. It's free. It's easy to use. That's all about Jenkins. And with this, I guess we have covered almost everything. If there are any questions, we can bring them up.
Yes, Akshita, there are some questions, a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One question from Anish here. Can take it.
Okay. Can anyone provide mules of documentation if we are using Copado for SF release? We heard that Copado is going to support MuleSoft and Heroku Commerce Cloud. Yeah, in the next release, would it be possible to explore possibilities where Anypoint Studio give all the details, or is there any other? Yeah, currently there is no such news, but definitely there will be something like that. When I said initially as well, the Copado, it will be supporting it. But if there are any documentations and all to be coming, you can always keep a check on Mule documentation. This is the normal site, right? A MuleSoft documentation, sorry. So this is the place where you'll actually find if there are any new release or anything else coming up, or the Mule blogs or the Mule developers site on the LinkedIn, you can say. There they'll be definitely updating. Or if there are new connects and all coming up, that's the time when they actually release new thing. Like even in this connect, they released Composer and everything. They introduced about it. So if there are any news, we'll get to know about it. So apart from this, is there a provision to configure timeout and the retry connection as I'm facing build? Yeah, you can try out the retry connection as well. In case if your time is if it is taking more time, not sure how you can configure, but I had seen it somewhere that you can configure it out. Maybe something build time format. Yeah, there is definitely a provision to configure this thing, timeout error. I'll just check and get back to you, or in the release pipeline maybe. Where did it go? Basically, if you're facing a timeout for one of them, I mean, how are you facing? What is the timeout issue you're getting? Is it not able to connect to server or something like that? No. Raj?
Yeah, hi. Akshita.
Hi.
So what is happening? The application archive is more in size actually. So there are set of mirrors that I have set in the form.xml to look for the artifact to download. Okay. So what is happening in one of the mirror it did not find, in the second it was finding. So it did not try. It was present there, but pipeline got stuck around more than 10 minutes or so, and thereafter it got cancelled sometime and connection timed out. I don't know what is happening in the Azure pipeline, whether there would be some time configured for the agent to be available or something. I really
currently, yeah, I mean there should be something timeout related thing, but I haven't like actually used it. Let me just check because I've seen like if you want to run the next pipeline, only if this pipeline is successful and all, you can build this pipeline. If you'll see the pre-deployment condition, right, the trigger and all, only if the first pipeline is successful, or if you want to schedule something. But your case is in terms of timeout. So in that case, I have never faced a timeout issue because whichever repositories or artifactories I want to search, they were listed down in the settings.xml. So it found those dependencies and all.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are no webhooks as of now, but maybe something in future there might be. But as of now, Krish, there are no webhooks for CI/CD Jenkins and all.
Thank you.
Hi, Akshata.
Hi, Mandir.
Hi, Akshata. First of all, thanks for this session. It's an amazing one.
Thank
I
you.
need to know. I need to know one thing. Like most of the projects, they already. I mean, being a developer, they already have this artifactories and settings, XML, and everything already configured. So if we have to configure one from the scratch, do you know or happen to come across any of the documentation that can give us more idea about
I mean, yeah,
the
so normally we have seen that all of them they have. So even like this one was something I didn't configure anything extraordinary. This is just downloaded the Maven. If you'll see Apache Maven, and I just extracted this thing, and that's wherein the default settings.xml came up with this in the configuration folder. So all you need to do is just go and download the Maven. It will be like Maven download, and that's it for Windows or something, like whatever you want. So you'll be getting a jar, zip, all those files, and with that only you'll be having a basic settings.xml. So after that, when you want to add in more details, right, so what you'll be doing is you'll be just going ahead and you'll be adding more things like your servers, your repository. So this all information you can get from your client, and this server which we have added for MuleSoft thing, so this is something a public repository, so that we are using. And whichever profiles you want to keep it as active, so you can just add it in the active profiles list. So currently I just cannot scroll up because there is client information as well present, but you can just imagine that there are different profiles present, just like the way this is the one profile. Similarly, there are several profiles, and whichever you want to keep the profile, whichever you want to do this thing, you can just I mean, you can just comment it out over here if you don't want to use any of the profile, or if you want to add a new profile, all you need to do is just add the list in the active profiles directory, so that next time whenever it is downloading or doing a build package, right, it will be making sure that it's downloading from here, from the active profiles thing.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions?
Akshata, one question on the rollback part. I mean, I'm aware of the Artifactory and all, but what wanted to know is like, so in case the rollback has to be done, do I need to script it along with Artifactory, or is there something like a
No, I
patch and
mean,
config?
so first case, if the conditions are not being met, like if the build is not successful, or if the whatever you're adding, right, the Sonar Cube or any M-unit test cases, J-unit test cases, if those conditions are not satisfied, then at the first place only it won't go ahead and deploy. Okay, it will fail in the dev environment only. And suppose if it has failed in dev, if it has successfully been deployed in dev side, and before QA, it will first at least wait for some duration, or it will wait for approvals as you set up. Okay, and even if then if it goes and deploys to QA, so the next thing is that you will have to redeploy it again. I mean, just trigger the pipeline again and get it deployed in dev and QA. So I don't think there is anything as a rollback mentioned, because
Okay.
that is something manual, right? But you can definitely do what you can do is just go ahead and trigger the pipeline, run pipeline karke.
Manually trigger the pipeline.
Manually trigger the pipeline, so whatever you want, it will be deployed again. Or like whatever you're doing the changes, right, once, like if you think that it should be rolled back, then you can go ahead in the history as well, and you can select which version you want to go ahead and roll back. So that thing we have done, we just went into the history thing. Releases, yeah, sorry, uh, I cannot see the releases, but yeah, you can see the releases. You can select which version you want to deploy, and you can select that, I mean, that part of your code.
Got it.
It
So,
must be in
so I think,
repositories.
right. So let's say there are two code changes, right? And at least I've seen that in my teams, who I would say are DevOps aware, not very mature. Is like, let's say for one release, there are two code items, let's say API, whatever. Now, like you said, they pass through all the stages through Sonar, Cube, QA, and all. And what I've seen is, let's say out of the two, both of them pass through all the stages, but functionality wise, you got it right. Let's say one of them was not up to the mark, and I'm sure this happens in SDLC, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Definitely.
as a release manager, I don't want, hey, okay, this is one release item. I'll say A goes, B doesn't go. So I want both A and B back. So what I understand you saying is we go to the release here and then
Yeah,
take
you
both
can
of them
just
back
go
in
to the
time.
release,
Okay.
both on them back, just like the way you do for, because whenever you'll be doing any changes to the master branch, right, like you're taking your changes back, in the sense you'll be moving to the previous version, something like that. You'll be pushing those and you'll be reverting back your current changes. So again, the pipeline will be triggered in that case, and it will be putting out the older one, whichever was stable version.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that is something more on the Git part. We can say like whenever I'm doing like I have this code, suppose, and I'm just going in my history and I'm just reverting back my changes, like revert this commit changes, something like that.
Right,
Then
right.
it will go back to my previous one. And if there is any activity basically on my branch level, it will be just going ahead and running the pipeline again.
Right. And like you said in the Git, yeah, I'll have to handle at the Git level. And somehow, like you said, so let's say if I talk about this A and B, I'll have to tag both of them with some release number or something, so that, like you said, I can go back to the previous stable version
Yes.
of both this A and B, right? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks, Ipsi.
Thank you. Oh, I guess, are there any, okay, we'll share a game. Yeah. Okay, now nice game time. Okay. So I can stop sharing, Pankaj? If there are
Yeah,
no
any
questions.
other questions? Yeah, any other questions? If anyone want to go ahead more with more such questions, I will